We have seen Shedeur Sanders take second-team reps before, but today, interestingly, at least during one move-the-ball period, it was really one of the first move-the-ball periods that we've seen, the Browns actually had Shedeur Sanders go ahead of Dillon Gabriel.
He won more than 71% for his career. He completed 74% of his passes last year, despite being sacked about 42 times, 90-plus times over the 2 years that he was at Colorado. The brother can play.
As you can see, whether he know everything or not, he still is going to the right spot with the football. And everybody is saying, well, this is a guy that's not even taking check downs. He's throwing 20 yards down the field on a dig route. So it's not the processing of all of that. When the ball is snapped, when he on the field, he understands everything.
Each quarterback is slightly different. All the guys who got in the room are working really hard. I'm expecting to have a hell of a rookie dinner for both of the guys, especially Shadur.
Veterans, how they talk to him, mic'd up, see what he's doing in the community.
You talking about Njoku there?
Njoku, Mike Napier. Once you see, different little interactions and things like that, I know he has the talent. We'll see. It'll be a competition that usually brings the best out of guys, especially young guys. So I'm interested to see how that quarterback situation.
Nice to see him go to the 5th round, but he's come to camp and OTAs with a great attitude. He's a hardworking guy. He has a good head on his shoulders, and he's always positive, always optimistic, always keeps a smile on his face. And you like going to work with people who have that kind of attitude.
Picture this: a 5th-round draft pick walks into an NFL training camp where everyone expects him to ride the bench for years. The critics are already sharpening their knives, ready to tear apart every throw, every decision. But what happened next at Cleveland Browns training camp has left those same critics speechless and scrambling to rewrite their narratives. We have seen Shedeur Sanders take second-team reps before, but today, and this is where things get absolutely wild, during one of the first move-the-ball periods, something unprecedented happened. The Browns coaching staff made a decision that sent shockwaves through the entire organization. They had Shedeur Sanders go ahead of Dillon Gabriel, the supposed frontrunner for the starting position. Now, before you think this is just another training camp story that doesn't mean anything, let me paint you the full picture of what's really happening here. This isn't just about one practice or one good throw. This is about a complete transformation that's been building behind the scenes, and today it finally exploded into the open. You see, Shadur completed more than 71% of his passes for his career. That's not a typo. Last year alone, he completed 74% of his throws despite being absolutely demolished by opposing defenses. We're talking about a quarterback who was sacked 42 times in one season and over 90 times across 2 years at Colorado. Most quarterbacks would crumble under that kind of pressure, but not Shadur. Here's what the critics don't want you to know. When you watch the film, when you see him in action, this brother can absolutely play. Whether he knows every single protection call or not, and trust me, we'll get to that controversy in a moment, he's still finding the right spot with the football. He's making throws that have coaches doing double takes. But here's where it gets really interesting, and this is what has everyone talking. People keep saying, well, this is a guy who's not even taking checks from the line of scrimmage. They point to him throwing 20 yards downfield on dig routes as if it's a weakness. But what if I told you that's exactly what makes him special? It's not about the processing of every single defensive adjustment. It's about what happens when that ball is snapped and he's on the field. He understands everything that matters in that moment. And today, that understanding just earned him something that nobody saw coming this early in training camp. Breaking news out of Cleveland: Shedeur Sanders has just been promoted to the first team, and he's finally set to get those first team reps that everyone said he wasn't ready for. This is a huge step forward for the young quarterback, and the excitement surrounding him isn't just building, it's reaching a fever pitch. In fact, some coaches are so impressed with his talent that they're using words they've never used before about a rookie quarterback. Now, here's where this story takes a turn that nobody saw coming. And it's going to blow your mind when you hear what the coaching staff is actually saying behind closed doors. One of the Browns' assistant coaches recently made a statement that has been quietly circulating through the organization. And when I tell you what he said, you'll understand why this Shedeur Sanders situation is unlike anything we've seen in recent memory. This coach, who has been in the NFL for 15 years and has worked with some incredible talent, said something that stopped everyone in their tracks. "In my 15 years of coaching, I've never seen anything like this." Think about that for a moment. 15 years in the NFL. This coach has worked with Pro Bowl quarterbacks, has seen first-round picks come through the system, has watched seasoned veterans operate at the highest level. And yet, here he is, talking about a fifth-round rookie like he's witnessing something historic. But what exactly is he seeing that has him so amazed? It's not just the arm talent, though Shedur's ability to drive the ball downfield with precision is undeniable. It's not just the accuracy, though those completion percentages speak for themselves. What's got this coaching staff so excited is something much deeper, something that can't be taught in a classroom or perfected in a drill. It's the way Shadur processes information in real time. When chaos erupts around him, and in the NFL, chaos is a constant companion, he doesn't panic. He doesn't force throws into coverage. He doesn't abandon the pocket prematurely. Instead, he does something that veteran quarterbacks struggle with. He finds calm in the storm. During one particular practice session that has become legendary among the coaching staff, Shadur faced a simulated blitz package that had been giving the other quarterbacks fits all week. The defense was bringing pressure from multiple angles, the pocket was collapsing, and receivers were running option routes that required split-second decision-making. What happened next is why that assistant coach made his unprecedented statement. Shadur not only identified the hot route, not only delivered the ball on time, but he did it with a level of composure that had defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz shaking his head in disbelief. The throw was perfect, the timing was flawless, and the decision-making was that of a quarterback with years of NFL experience. From being counted out by draft experts who questioned whether he belonged in the NFL to now becoming one of the most talked about players in camp, Shedeur Sanders is completely rewriting the narrative that was written about him just months ago. His rise has been nothing short of spectacular, and with each passing day, he's not just proving he belongs at this level, he's proving he belongs at the top. The coaching staff isn't just impressed, they're genuinely excited about what they're seeing. And when NFL coaches start using words like "never seen anything like this" about a rookie quarterback, you know something special is happening. But let me tell you about the moment that changed everything, the performance during minicamp that had coaches looking at each other like they couldn't believe what they were witnessing. Picture the scene. It's a humid afternoon in Cleveland, the kind of day where the heat makes everything feel more intense. The team is running through their final minicamp session before breaking for the summer, and honestly, most people expected it to be just another routine practice. The veterans were going through the motions, the rookies were trying not to make mistakes, and the coaching staff was taking notes for training camp preparation. Then Shedeur Sanders stepped under center for what would become the most talked about series of plays in Browns minicamp history. During this team's minicamp session, Shadur didn't just impress everyone with his performance, he completely transformed the energy of the entire practice. The first thing that caught everyone's attention was his presence. While other quarterbacks were still getting comfortable with the speed of the NFL game, Shadur showed grit, leadership, and a calm command of the field that had coaches and teammates alike stopping what they were doing to watch. His pinpoint throws weren't just accurate, they were perfectly placed. We're talking about passes that hit receivers in stride, allowing them to maximize their yards after catch. But here's what really separated this performance from anything else we'd seen. His decision-making was sharp in a way that typically takes years to develop. There was one particular play that has become legendary among the coaching staff. The defense showed a coverage look that was designed to confuse young quarterbacks, with safeties rotating late and linebackers dropping into coverage zones that weren't immediately obvious. Most rookies would have either taken a sack or forced a throw into coverage. Not Shadur. His deep understanding of the game plan had coaches nodding in approval as he identified the coverage, found the soft spot in the zone, and delivered a strike that moved the chains. But it wasn't just one play. Every rep looked calculated, every snap carried purpose. This wasn't just flashes of talent that you sometimes see from rookies. This was consistent execution at a level that had everyone taking notice. The energy completely shifted when Shadur stepped under center. You could feel it on the field, you could see it in the way his teammates responded to his commands, and you could definitely see it in the way coaches were reacting on the sidelines. There were moments where you could hear coaches saying things like, "Did you see that? And how did he know to go there?" What made this performance even more remarkable was the context. This wasn't garbage time against third-string defenders. This was against the Browns' starting defense, with players like Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward bringing their A-game. And Shadur wasn't just surviving, he was thriving. Coaches could see something special developing, and their response was immediate and clear. Sanders would be promoted to first-team reps when training camp kicks off. This isn't just a stepping stone in his development, it's a statement from the organization that they believe he's ready for the next level. Now, here's where Shedur's story becomes truly inspiring, and it reveals something about his character that explains why he's rising so fast through the ranks when other talented players have failed. Shedeur Sanders was always working for this moment, but the way he approached the journey is what sets him apart from every other quarterback in that room. Throughout OTAs and minicamps, even when he wasn't getting the reps that everyone thought he deserved, even when critics were questioning whether he belonged on an NFL roster, he kept his focus with a level of maturity that shocked veteran players. But here's the quote that reveals everything you need to know about Shedur's mindset and why he's now getting first-team reps while other talented quarterbacks are still fighting for recognition. He said, "You've got to understand the situation you're in, whether you're getting reps or not. You can take it negatively, or you can use it to push yourself harder." Think about the wisdom in those words for a moment. Most young players, especially those with Shedur's talent and pedigree, would have let frustration creep in. They would have complained about not getting enough opportunities, or they would have let the lack of reps affect their preparation and attitude. But not Shadur. That mindset became his fuel, and here's how it played out in practice every single day. While other quarterbacks were focused on the reps they were getting, Shadur was studying every single snap, whether he was taking it or not. When Dillon Gabriel was running first-team drills, Shadur was on the sideline, mentally taking every rep, processing every defensive look, and preparing himself for when his opportunity would come. The coaching staff noticed this immediately. They saw a player who wasn't just physically gifted but mentally tough in a way that can't be taught. They watched him encourage teammates even when he wasn't getting the spotlight. They observed him staying late to work on his craft, coming in early to study film, and approaching every practice like it was his audition for the starting job. While others reacted emotionally to their situation, Shadur responded strategically. He stayed disciplined when discipline was hard, kept grinding when grinding felt pointless, and maintained his belief in himself when others were doubting his abilities. And now, all that mental toughness and preparation is paying off in the most visible way possible. He's climbing the depth chart not just because of his arm talent or his accuracy, but because of his approach to the process. The coaches have seen that he can handle adversity, that he can stay focused under pressure, and that he has the mental makeup of a franchise quarterback. And just when it seemed like his opportunity might not come as quickly as he hoped, just when some people were starting to wonder if the Browns had made a mistake by not giving him more chances earlier, things have finally turned his way in a dramatic fashion. The hard work is paying off, the mindset is being rewarded, and he's now poised to make a serious push for the starting role. This isn't just about talent, it's about the drive to prove he belongs at the top, and that drive is about to be tested on the biggest stage possible. Here's where this story gets absolutely wild, and it's going to show you just how dramatically the narrative around Shedeur Sanders has shifted in the span of just a few weeks. Remember all those critics who were ready to write Shadur off before he even stepped foot in an NFL facility? The ones who questioned whether a quarterback from Colorado could handle the speed and complexity of professional football? Well, even the most bitter critics are now being forced to eat their words, and some of the reversals are so dramatic they're almost hard to believe. Take Mary Kay, for example, one of the most vocal skeptics of Shedur's NFL potential. Just months ago, She was questioning whether he had the processing speed to succeed at the next level, whether his college success would translate, and whether the Browns had made a mistake by drafting him at all. But now, even Mary Kay has accepted that Shedeur Sanders has moved up the ranks in the quarterback competition, and she's doing it publicly. This is the same person who was pointing to his sack numbers at Colorado as evidence that he couldn't handle NFL pressure. The same critic who suggested that his completion percentage was inflated by a college system that wouldn't work in the pros. And now she's acknowledging that he's earned his place in the competition through his performance, not his pedigree. But Mary Kay isn't the only one who's had to completely reverse course. Just a short time ago, the consensus among analysts and media members was that Dillon Gabriel was the clear frontrunner for the starting job. Gabriel had the experience, the arm talent, and the system familiarity that everyone thought would give him a significant advantage over a rookie quarterback. The tides have turned so dramatically in Shedeur's favor that it's almost like watching a completely different competition. His performance has been so undeniable, so consistently impressive, that even the most stubborn critics can't ignore what they're seeing with their own eyes. What makes this reversal even more remarkable is that it's not based on potential or projection. It's based on actual performance against NFL-level competition. These critics aren't changing their minds because they like Shedeur's story or because they want to be on the right side of history. They're changing their minds because the evidence is overwhelming. The growth that Shedeur has shown, the consistency of his performance, and the sheer talent that he's showcased in every practice and every drill has made it impossible for anyone to deny that he deserves those first-team reps. Whether you were a skeptic who thought he'd never make it in the NFL or a believer who always thought he had the talent to succeed, everyone is now on board with the idea that he's earned his place at the top of the depth chart. This isn't about giving a rookie a chance to see what he can do. This isn't about development or long-term potential. This is about recognizing that Shedeur Sanders has proven, through his performance and his preparation, that he's ready to compete for the starting job right now. The stage is set, the critics have been silenced, and Shedeur is ready to take his game to the next level in front of everyone who doubted him. Now, here's where the Shedeur Sanders story becomes even more compelling, because what's happening in the locker room and with the veteran players is something you rarely see with rookie quarterbacks, especially fifth-round picks. Cornelius has weighed in on the quarterback competition, and when you hear his exact words and see the way he delivered them, you'll understand why this endorsement carries so much weight. He didn't just give a generic "the kid's got talent" response that veterans usually give about rookies. Instead, he declared with conviction, there is a hell of a competition with everyone competing, but especially Shedeur. But here's what makes that statement so significant. It's not just what Cornelius said, it's how he said it. His gesture and tone said everything you need to know about how the veteran players view Shedeur's rise. This wasn't a reluctant acknowledgement or a politically correct response to a media question. This was genuine respect from a veteran player who has seen countless rookies come and go, and who recognizes something special when he sees it. The respect from his teammates, particularly from established veterans like Cornelius, is undeniable and represents something much deeper than just acknowledging talent. In the NFL, veteran players don't just hand out respect to rookies because they're supposed to. They earn it through their work ethic, their attitude, and their ability to contribute to the team's success. What's even more remarkable is how Shedeur has managed to build these relationships while still competing for the same position that some of these veterans are fighting for. The quarterback room could easily become a tense environment where players are protecting their own interests, but instead, it's become a place where everyone is pushing each other to get better. Cornelius went on to say something that really drives home how special this situation has become. Each quarterback is slightly different. All the guys we got in the room are working really hard. I'm expecting to have a hell of a rookie dinner for both of the guys, especially Shedeur. Now, that might sound like a simple comment about rookie traditions, but if you understand NFL culture, you know that veteran players don't talk about rookie dinners, which can cost thousands of dollars, unless they genuinely respect and want to celebrate those rookies. This isn't just acknowledgement, this is acceptance into the brotherhood. But what's really fascinating is what's happening behind the scenes that most people never get to see. Things are starting to come out that Shedeur Sanders isn't just impressing on the field but also with his interactions off it, especially with the veterans. He's building strong relationships and earning their respect in ways that speak volumes about his maturity and leadership qualities that you simply can't teach. Think about how difficult this usually is for rookie quarterbacks. They're coming into an established locker room where veteran players have been through battles together, where relationships have been built over years, and where earning respect takes time. Most rookies spend their first year just trying to fit in and not make waves. Not Shadur. He's somehow managed to come in and immediately start building the kind of relationships that typically take seasons to develop. Veterans are seeking him out for conversations, they're including him in leadership discussions, and they're treating him like he belongs rather than like he needs to prove himself. Analysts are now praising not only his on-field skills but also his relentless work ethic and the way he carries himself around the facility. His critics, who once doubted whether he had the mental makeup to succeed in the NFL, are starting to realize that Shadur isn't just here to be part of the competition, he's here to take it over, and he's doing it in a way that brings everyone along with him rather than creating division. The veterans are noticing how he talks to them, how he responds when he's mic'd up during practice, and what he's doing in the community. Players like David and Njoku have been particularly vocal about their interactions with Shadur, and when you see these different little moments and conversations, it becomes clear that this isn't just about football talent. As one veteran put it, we know he has the talent, we'll see how the competition goes, but that usually brings the best out of guys, especially young guys. The fact that established players are excited about the competition rather than threatened by it tells you everything you need to know about how Shadur has handled this situation. This kind of veteran buy-in doesn't happen by accident. It happens when a young player shows up every day with the right attitude, puts the team first, and demonstrates that he's not just trying to take someone's job, he's trying to make the entire team better. And that's exactly what Shedeur Sanders has done from day one. The media reaction to Shedeur Sanders' promotion has been absolutely explosive, and some of the statements coming from respected analysts are so bold that they're reshaping how people view this entire situation. Once the announcement was made that Shadur would be getting first-team reps, journalists couldn't contain their excitement, and some of the reactions have been so enthusiastic that you'd think they were talking about a first-round pick rather than a fifth-round selection. But here's where it gets really interesting. Some reporters are starting to call this one of the biggest steals in recent NFL draft history. One journalist made a statement that has been circulating throughout NFL media circles, and when you hear what he said, you'll understand why the hype around Shadur is reaching unprecedented levels. He boldly declared that considering Shadur's rapid development and the trajectory he's on, Cleveland now has a gem on their hands, one they snagged in the 5th round when other teams were completely overlooking his potential. But he didn't stop there. This same journalist went on to make a prediction that has people talking throughout the league. He said that Shedeur Sanders is going to be the biggest bargain of the NFL season. Think about that statement for a moment. We're talking about a 5th-round pick who cost the Browns almost nothing in terms of draft capital, and now experts are suggesting he could provide more value than players selected 100-plus picks ahead of him. The hype isn't just coming from beat reporters or local media who might have a bias toward their team's players. This is coming from national analysts who have no reason to overstate Shadur's potential unless they genuinely believe what they're seeing is special. James Jones, the former NFL wide receiver turned analyst, recently weighed in on the Shedeur Sanders situation, and his take was so definitive that it's impossible to ignore. Jones didn't hedge his bets or give a diplomatic answer about the competition. Instead, he made a clear, unambiguous statement: the best option for the Browns right now is Shedeur Sanders. Jones went even further, firmly stating that there's no one on the team as good as him when it comes to the quarterback position. This isn't coming from someone who's just trying to create controversy or generate clicks. This is coming from a former player who understands what it takes to succeed at the NFL level and who has watched enough football to recognize elite talent when he sees it. Jones made it clear that with the way Sanders is performing, He's not just a contender for the starting job, he's the most ready player on the roster. The confidence in Shadur from former players like Jones is growing every day, and they're not just recognizing his potential, they're recognizing that he's ready to contribute right now. Jones argued that the Browns should put Shadur in with the first team to see what he's got, because based on everything he's seen, Sanders has already proven that he belongs at that level. When former NFL players start making statements like that about a rookie quarterback, it's time to pay attention. When Stephen A. Smith starts talking about a rookie quarterback with the kind of enthusiasm he's shown for Shedeur Sanders, you know something significant is happening. And what Stephen A. said about Shadur isn't just praise, it's a statistical breakdown that destroys every argument the critics have been making. Even Stephen A. Smith couldn't resist weighing in on Shedeur Sanders, and his take was just as impactful as you'd expect from one of the most influential voices in sports media. But here's what made Stephen A.'s analysis so powerful. He didn't just rely on eye test or potential. He went straight to the numbers, and those numbers tell a story that's impossible to argue with. Stephen A. mentioned that Shadur has the best stats when it comes to starting quarterbacks, and when you break down what those statistics actually mean, you'll understand why everyone from coaches to analysts to former players is getting so excited about his potential. Let's talk about those numbers that have Stephen A. Smith and everyone else so convinced. Shadur completed more than 71% of his passes for his career. That's not just good, that's elite-level accuracy that puts him in the company of some of the best quarterbacks in college football history. But here's where it gets even more impressive. He completed 74% of his passes last year despite being under constant pressure. We're talking about a quarterback who was sacked 42 times in one season and over 90 times across 2 years at Colorado. Most quarterbacks would see their accuracy plummet under that kind of pressure, but Shedur's completion percentage actually improved. That tells you everything you need to know about his mental toughness and his ability to perform when things get chaotic around him. For Stephen A. Smith, it's not just about the potential or the highlight reel throws, it's about the numbers that back up the hype. When you're completing 3 out of every 4 passes while getting hit more than almost any quarterback in college football, you're demonstrating skills that translate directly to NFL success. But here's what makes those statistics even more remarkable. Shadur wasn't just checking down to running backs or throwing safe passes to inflate his completion percentage. He was pushing the ball downfield, making throws into tight windows, and completing passes that required precision and timing that most college quarterbacks simply don't possess. Stephen A.'s analysis cuts through all the noise and gets to the heart of why Shadur is rising so quickly through the ranks. The performance speaks for itself, and with the kind of stats he's putting up, it's hard to deny that he's more than ready to take on the starting role at the NFL level. As Stephen A. put it, when you look at the numbers objectively, when you see what Shadur accomplished under adverse conditions, and when you watch how he's performing in practice against NFL-level competition, the conclusion becomes obvious. This brother can play, and he can play at a level that most people didn't expect from a 5th-round pick. The statistical dominance isn't just impressive, it's predictive of NFL success, and that's why voices like Stephen A. Smith are getting behind Shedeur Sanders in such a big way. From being doubted by draft experts to earning first-team reps in record time, Shedeur Sanders has completely rewritten the script on what's possible for a 5th-round quarterback. His journey from overlooked prospect to legitimate starting candidate isn't just inspiring, it's a masterclass in how talent, work ethic, and the right mindset can overcome any obstacle. The promotion to first-team training reps marks more than just a milestone in his career. It represents a seismic shift in how the Cleveland Browns view their quarterback future. With coaches using words like "never seen anything like this," veterans embracing his leadership, and analysts calling him the steal of the draft, Shadur has proven that he's not just capable of handling the pressure, he's thriving under it. His impressive performance throughout OTAs and minicamps showcased not only his undeniable talent but also his leadership, work ethic, and ability to execute under pressure. Even veteran players like Cornelius have taken notice, highlighting the fierce competition at quarterback while acknowledging Shadur's standout contributions. as industry giants like Stephen A. Smith and James Jones join the chorus of praise, affirming Shadur as the best option at quarterback for the Browns right now. His stats, decision-making, and calm command of the field make it clear that he's not just a promising prospect, he's a player ready to lead. With the promotion to first-team reps, Shedur's journey is just beginning. He's proven that he's capable of handling the pressure, and now he's poised to take the next step as the Browns move forward. What do you think? Is Shedeur Sanders ready to take on the starting role for the Cleveland Browns, or does he still have more to prove? Will his rise to first-team reps change the course of the season for the Browns? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one and want to hear your take on this incredible story.